Welcome, everybody. Wow, I'm seeing a lot of people here I haven't seen in a while. We are live
It's you.
on Friday night in New York. Welcome, everybody. Good to see you. This is this week's Banter-AMA, Banter-AMA, where you can ask me anything. Oh, that's right. I was going to maybe talk and see if Faye and Yunji wanted to join me this week. What do you... I know you guys are here. What do you guys think about that? Maybe you guys could come up and join in, and people could ask you questions too.
Sounds good.
That's dangerous.
I don't know where maybe we could stand up here in that case. Then a bit more space. I don't know. Do you want to do the? We could do
It's weird.
the whole routine of it.
Sure. Where's Yunji?
Get up into the sky, freak people out. Oh no! Did Yunji hear me coming? Went running.
She said that she had to go and she was going to come back. I didn't know what she was going for. Like, she said she was testing her audio.
That's
and
really
she had
cool.
to go and then come back.
Oh, she's just testing her audio.
Oh, I just realized you guys
goes.
Giant Shane.
She's
Excuse
probably
me, my
doing
head
a
is
sound
very
check.
small. I'm especially proud of how small my head is relative to the rest of my body. Some of you might notice I'm in my skin again, which is great. My other avatar is kind of like evening wear now.
Wow.
That's kind of how I treat it.
This is
Let's
the Shane I know.
let's get you megaphoned, Faye.
Sure.
So yeah, if Yunji comes back, maybe we can rope her in and get her up on stage, and you guys can ask any questions you like. But let's kick off with Cyrus. Cyrus, you are live to the room. Who would you like to ask a question?
Hey.
I'll ask you a question, Shane.
Okay.
The anything I'm gonna ask you is,
Oh,
Face large.
I know.
what made you come up with the idea of banter?
wow. I guess I don't feel like I came up with the idea. I feel more like I want to perfect the idea. That's probably the best way to describe that. Yeah, I've been around for a while. I've seen a lot of platforms like this,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought that we could do it better. So I got the band back together, and that's what
I
we've been
mean,
doing.
honestly, you're killing it in the social platform space because most of the air games are not doing too well right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's tough. It's tough out there. You know what I mean? It takes a lot of hard work, and we definitely recognize that. And we have some really big plans. Yeah.
I
So
can't wait
think,
to see what y'all start working on. And I've been enjoying this platform for about the month that I've been on it. It's been lovely. You are all lovely people. And yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. You're quite lovely yourself, and also a bit of a lyrical genius. So kudos to you. If anybody hasn't,
Again,
seen-
to add on to that, I am not a rapper. Don't listen to what he says.
That's true. That's true. He can kind of yeah, he kind of improvs, right? Improvises.
Mm-hmm.
He's threatened
Yeah.
to do
Pretty amazing.
a show where it's the whole room kind of this size. You know, maybe we should do like an alternating AMA every week. I guess that kind of turns into step into your shoes a little bit. doesn't
Well,
it?
the thing I was going to do is use everyone's
Sounds
names
fun.
in the
Yeah,
rep.
everyone in the room basically coming up with a
Yep.
rap to evolve the entire space where
Well, the
people.
difference the difference between Step Into My Shoes and the AMA is that Step Into My Shoes is curated questions, but AMA is that the users get to ask all of the questions for the whole time. So that could be
That's
really
true.
cool. That could be
That's
neat.
true.
I like it. We should do it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Thanks for that. Really appreciate you, Cyrus. It's great to have you around. Yeah. Yeah, I'll explain for anybody else who's maybe joining us late. There's actually 36 people in here. That's really cool. In the middle here, down the beach, if you want, you can make your way down and form an orderly queue, let's say, and we'll be more than happy to answer your questions. And if nobody makes their way down to the beach, then I get to enjoy picking somebody at random and asking them a question. That's how it works. We flip the AMA around. Reverse day. How do you feel about that? So let's go ahead. I think somebody over there is looking to be put on the spot. Oh, Megan, you've been saved by the bell. You've been saved by the bell. Go ahead, Trey. What can I do for you?
So I know you probably answered this question 1,000 times, but how long has Banter been around? Like, as far as existing?
It's a good question. I don't think I've answered that too many times, but I think it started around the start of last year. So that's what, a year and 5 months?
Okay. So what to add on to that, what are your goals for the platform? Like, where do you see this like in the next maybe 5 years or something? How do you see Banter?
That's really great. That's a great question. And whatever you do, don't turn around and look down at the ground, because there's nothing there. Nothing's gonna surprise you. Nothing at all.
Does not look.
Oasis.
Anyway, what do we want to do? What are our goals for the platform? I mean, I think we have a number of different goals for Banter internally, right? Banter is a product made by Sidequest. I'm the CEO of Sidequest, for any of you who are unaware. And yeah, Banter is an opportunity for us to kind of have and build, our own presence in virtual reality. The interesting thing about Sidequest is that we've been around. We've been a fairly reasonable player in this space now for a number of years, but it's mostly been out of VR in a lot of ways because our website, our discovery platform for apps has mostly operated outside of the device. So yeah, Banter is an opportunity for us to really stretch our own legs into virtual reality and to try to build something that's really cool. We've been sitting on the sidelines now for a while and watching as games become popular and sort of take off in VR. And we look at games like VR Chat, and we look at games like Gorilla Tag, believe it or not, and these are games that are heavily driven by the social element at the core. And we believe that there is an untapped market here. We believe that focusing on standalone devices and providing, high quality experience, but at a good frame rate, basically, right? That performs really well, is something that's really needed. I think a lot of people on Quest have become afterthoughts, and I think that we can do better than that. So we're in a really great position as Sidequest. It's pretty common. A lot of these gaming platforms often start with their own games or end up making their own games, right? Whether it's Steam or it's Epic or it's even Meta. They've got billions in the hole when it comes to how many studios they've acquired in recent years, and building their own first-party games is pretty much something they've always done. So there's lots of different reasons really why we want to build Banter, and I guess the biggest one is that we want to just grow a community of people who are kind of passionate about this stuff, who aren't necessarily screeching kids, who are interested in having avatars with, let's say, reasonable proportion head. I only say reasonable because look who's talking. But not oversized. Undersized is cool. We're cool with undersized. And only oversized if it's like a novelty, like a bobblehead maybe. And Berry, wherever he's here, Berry's cool. He can have an oversized head
Size
too.
doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Shane.
exactly. Except for when it's smaller. Thank you, Trey. Appreciate it. I waffled there a bit. So, yeah. For those of you who are joining late, this is the Banter AMA, and if you come down onto the beach, I will line up my hand on the sand so it looks like I'm holding you. oh, and then I'll put you on loudspeaker like Muse's wizard in the middle there, so that everybody can hear them, and then I'll ask them a question like, "Hey, what do you treasure? What do you
I
treasure?"
have a question.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Okay.
What's your view on privacy?
Privacy.
Anonymity.
That's a great question. Anonymity. That's a really really good question. I think in the world that we live in today, it's hard to provide an anonymous service, but we are one of the few that still allow people to access and use our content without having to create an account, right? Because I think that's basically what we're talking about here. In Banter, we've opted not to connect to your Oculus account and to your Steam account. Generally on Sidequest, we opt not to collect any unnecessary information about you. We don't use any information at all about our users in any way or share it with any third parties ever, right? So in terms of privacy, yeah, we're that's generally how we think about data. But yeah, like I say, SideQuest is a platform you can access and download content from there without needing an account. So anonymous access works fine. And here in Banter, you can come in, join without having an account. You can be a guest. You can experience almost everything that is on offer here. Yeah, without having to sign up. I hope that answers your question.
How will you monetize?
How will we monetize? I think eventually we may introduce something like an end user subscription model. You can compare it to something like Discord Nitro or VR Chat Plus. But honestly, that's a long way off. Right now, we're just really heavily focused on building cool things.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah, no problem at all. Thanks for the questions.
Yeah, I just
Trey.
have another question. I'm sorry, it just came up out of my head.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I noticed like sometimes when I'm in Banter, I get notifications like somebody send me a message through SideQuest, using SideQuest, and they send me a message, but I can't reply in the headset. I have to go on the Banter website to reply.
Yes.
So
you want to be able to reply in game. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
I get it. Yeah, it's definitely something that is going to be coming soon. It's been blocked mostly by our UI overhaul, right? We're about to completely redo the menu, and because that's a complete that's a complete change from one type of technology to another, it's sort of blocking any major work going on within the menu itself, right? So once we've rolled that out, which hopefully will only be in a couple of weeks, then we'll be able to enhance that, add all of this extra capability and functionality. So yeah, having in-game messaging, being able to type, having actually a better unified universal keyboard that works across everything and works a lot better. These are things, having voice, speech to text input so that you don't necessarily always have to type in VR, because honestly, it's a pain. So these are all the things that you can expect once we've got that menu out and we can start to.
And I mentioned in the Discord, you seen it on where like when you're in the browser, being able to bookmark favorite websites or most recent website that you go to, like Ready Player Me. I go to my Ready Player Me all the time to change my clothes. But it'll be good if I can just bookmark it, and so I won't have to keep typing it in every single time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, you're right.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, all of the above is definitely what we're going to be tackling once we've got that menu overhaul complete and out. So yeah, you can watch that space and yeah, we'll get all of that stuff done.
And also, is eventually in the future, are emojis in the works somehow, or we can get them like emojis?
Oh, Lean, your megaphone. Tell us about emojis.
Emojis.
Emojis?
Emojis.
They are coming sooner than later.
As soon as it makes.
Okay.
We stood on this very beach earlier today and had a conversation actually about emojis. We use Banter for our company all hands once a month. The entire company gets together to, we're a remote company, so we don't get to do that often enough. And, somebody commented it would be nice if we had a way to, just clap or make a sound in between statements to break the ice a little bit. And since then, Alina's been literally playing around with an emoji system. Honestly, it's pretty cool. We're just trying to figure out exactly how and where we could position it. So what we might try and do first is introduce it into some worlds and see how we can, see how we can test it out. See what you guys kind of think of it. But I don't know, Lean. Do you want to tell them about the prototype? Tell them what it does, what
yeah.
it's like.
I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You can just select emoji. The idea is for the very first iteration to build it similar like the playlist player. So it will be an option for a space, and you can just add a menu to your hand or to your lower arm, and then select emojis from there, and then they will just pop up over your head, fly upwards while they animate. It's
Awesome.
pretty basic. From a technical stand, it's really just a plane with a billboard shader on it. But we have to make sure that people can't just crash a space by spamming thousands of emojis at once. So that's the main consideration currently. But we really are looking forward to get really soon a first version, hopefully directly into this space, so you can play around with it. Then we can gather some feedback, and at some point we probably have to integrate it into the main build that it's available everywhere, similar to the selfie cam, which is currently also a space thing, so creators have to add it to their spaces. But especially with the new menu, those kind of things will be integrated and available directly from there.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Trey. Go ahead.
So Second Life, how inspired were you by that?
Me personally, not very much. Though I do know that some people within our team and within our community were very prominent on Second Life, and I think Second Life to some degree maybe inspired a lot of all of this to some degree, if you really want to think of it like that.
Mm-hmm.
It brought me here personally. I was a Second Life user, and I was looking for a virtual reality application to use for Second Life, and that's when I found AltSpace VR. And I became a part of the community there, and that's where I met Shane. That's where all of this started for me to find my way here.
Nice.
Yeah. Yep.
Old school.
Yeah, absolutely
That's
old
right.
school.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen this mug before, but this is about as old school as it gets when you come to that sort of thing.
That's good. It's good. It's good. It's nice. It's nice to see how things have changed.
Yeah.
For the better.
Yeah, a lot has happened. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth noting, Faye, you've been in this industry for probably coming up on 10 years pretty soon, right?
Yep, just about. Pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, tell me, what do you think of the sorts of emoji systems that are out there? Who does it? Who does it well? Who does it bad? who did it well?
AltSpace did it well.
Yeah,
oh no,
AltSpace did it well. That was awesome. Yes, yes, it was awesome. The little noises that would pop up when you throw up emojis was amazing, and I like it
love
so much
going
better
to
than
events and they be
throwing
like, "Show,
emojis
give me
at
hearts,"
people.
and I can just push the
What,
hearts
Trey?
and
Sorry,
I
let
was
me
just
make up on
saying
you. I
how in
didn't
all
hear you.
space I would go to events and use the hearts
Uh-huh.
and the laugh and all the emojis and stuff. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yep. Those were my favorite. I've experienced ones where you throw the emojis, or you just click them in your menu. I think it's just really nice to be able to have them right there. If we have them on our hands like we're talking about, I think that's going to make things much easier. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's what we were talking about. Maybe prototyping, just something simple to begin with, right? Something maybe like the buttons on the back of your hand to control the playback, just so that we can
Yeah.
have something to try out and see how that works. But yeah, keep an eye out for that. I'm sure you're going to see that in some spaces. I mean, I guess.
About the emojis.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of ways to get involved. I think the best way to get involved is probably to jump into our Discord, discord.gg/Banterverse. Yeah, that's pretty much where everything's going down. But yeah, go ahead, Divine. What have you got for us?
I like the fact that I never really, I don't think I really made emojis if you could in alt space, but I did make emojis in VR chat, and that was kind of fun. But you had to pay for the year or whatever, the subscription, in order to make them. But yeah, that would be nice to be able to make our own emojis as well. I don't know, just an idea.
That's interesting. That's actually something we discussed.
Absolutely.
Custom emojis. The first one's free.
Yay!
And then it's $9.99 for the next one, and then it's $49.99
I'll pay it.
for 3 months.
Like I always said, if Old Space asked us for a subscription payment, I would have done it. I would have done it so much. I would have done it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the sort of thing that we're interested to explore here. I don't even want to mention it in case somebody thinks it's popular and it turns out to be a horrible idea. But we've also been talking about soundboards, right? We've got the announcement system that announces people's entry into spaces. It could be cool to have your own custom entry sounds, as long as they're not too crazy or
just like normal
graphic.
soundboards. No.
And then soundboards. People could just communicate through a collection of soundboards.
No.
It's totes. Yeah. Well, great. That's interesting. That's certainly. But yeah, if something were the case, you'd always have the option to turn them off. Maybe even the space could turn them off if they wanted to not have things be too distracting, right? I guess things can always get too distracting, and maybe just try and not have them be too obnoxious. Just make the sounds come out of people's mouths and make their mouths move as if the sound is, as if they're saying it. That could be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. These are all just ideas, I guess, right? But it's something we're actually thinking a lot about right now for a number of reasons, because I guess we're focusing on an element of the platform that's very personal to each of us, which is the overall avatar system. It's an important part of our virtual identities, and we obviously have a lot going on with ours. Everything from how the physics are working to the cosmetics, the inverse kinematics. Something else that ends in itix or whatever, I'm sure. But sorry, I'm waffling. Cyrus, go ahead.
Yeah, so your new avatar system, what are the bases basically going to be about? Like, you said avatar worlds and stuff.
Yeah.
Are the bases still going to be made by the community, or is it going to be like preset bases that y'all come up with?
We're leaning into custom avatars created by the community. Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely what we want to have. We also want to maintain backwards compatibility with everything that works here today. So you'll still be able to create avatars just like you do through Ready Player Me, but we'll have this new thing, this alternate thing that you can use instead, that will hopefully have an increasing number of capabilities and features that we can kind of add on to it. That's not possible with Ready Player Me, right?
All right.
But it's definitely it's a huge area, and yeah, it's going to take a lot of work, but I think we can really come up with something that's pretty cool. And yeah, I mean, for us, it's about trying to focus on how can we offer people more customization. You know,
Hmm.
it's a lot about how your avatar looks, but it's also about how it speaks, how different parts of it move. You can see my
Yeah, because I know these
hand
hands
is
are
flapping.
wonky.
Yeah, hands could be improved for sure. Like here's something, right? So a number of you here have been working on avatars, and maybe something you might find interesting is that we have been experimenting with a system that should be able to dynamically load in almost any humanoid rig at runtime, which should allow for even potentially a certain amount of customization in the rigs, as long as they're humanoid, and Unity would be able to automatically import them and retarget them. That may be something better that we'll be able to do, and that'll actually allow for potentially a lot of variation. Like you can work with whatever pose you want. You could have slight different variations in bone shapes or
I could have an
positions.
animated screen for my TV.
I mean, yeah, I mean, there's potentially other ways to do that as well, but mostly it's about not having to do so much work when it comes to
Yeah.
preparing Avatar. I mean, in some cases, you may be able to just upload it to Mixamo, have it auto rig it, and then slap it into our plugin and
Yeah,
press a
because
single button,
I'm a
do everything.
standalone user, so I can't really work with like spaces or making avatars and stuff, so I have to rely on other people. But is there gonna be anything that's like standalone friendly or anything?
For creating avatars specifically?
Like anything, like spaces or avatars and stuff?
I think generally what you'll find is that we want to, maybe start by building up a collection of avatar worlds that you'll be able to kind
Mhm.
of browse through and just find new avatars and set them on. But creating avatars, I think what we want is ultimate customization, and sometimes to achieve that, I think you might have to compromise on convenience. So it might be
Mhm.
that, yeah, still a professional setup, somewhat professional.
Yeah.
We want to make it as easy as we can, but you might still need a computer to be
Yeah.
able to do it, especially with avatars. Uh, Spaces, on the other hand, spaces I think in the future will likely be something you could create using uh, using basically like a world builder that can tap into a bunch of different
Mhm.
kits. You can load them in and then place objects from those kits throughout the world, right? So that would certainly be a way for you to create in VR by just dragging objects around and placing them by hand.
Yeah,
And,
cause
just
I've used a lot
scaling
of
stuff
VR
up.
world builders and stuff. They're like very user friendly on just standalone.
Yes. I mean, I think for us, what makes Banter different is how much we try to squeeze out of the platform when it comes to performance.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, when it comes to systems like that, it's very hard to optimize them because
Yeah.
you're taking assets from different places and they haven't been designed to go together, and nothing
Mhm.
can really be baked or static in those sorts of situations. So it means that there's a lot less built-in optimization that you can kind of rely on with the engine. So
Mhm.
it means that those setups, unfortunately, often you do have to compromise, and you have to compromise on important areas like performance, and that's really unfortunate. So yeah, I mean, I guess what I'm saying there is that without being able to optimize workflows like that, really, the truth is you can get so much more out of being able to prepare your space and being able to do all of that extra stuff that really you can only do in Unity. And honestly,
Mhm.
I encourage anybody who is interested, if you've got the equipment, you know what? Why don't I? Oh boy, I was going to make a phone Pony, but I can't because he's got to rejoin because he's disconnected and now he's only got a mute and
fine
block.
then.
Pony can tell you, right? So Pony's here, and Pony started out. Am I right in saying when you started on Banter, that's when you started working in Unity?
I first installed Unity on the 19th of October last year. That's the first time
There you
I
go.
ever installed Unity.
Woo!
What's the top two tools that you use in Unity that make what you do easier?
That's the easy answer. That's Pro Builder, which is free in Unity. You just need to type in Pro Builder in the asset section, and it'll just enable it. Why it's not enabled in first place, I don't know. Just enable that, and then the other one you need is Bakery. Bakery saves you hours, and I do mean hours. Something that would take me 2 hours, 3 hours to bake, I can bake it in 60 seconds.
There you go.
It's a game changer.
That's great advice, really great advice, and I highly recommend, if you haven't, to visit some of Pony's worlds, because honestly, they're amazing. They're really good. They're optimized. Everything is baked. It's a really great experience. And I knew you were going to say those two things, Pony. I set you up there.
Yeah, I would really like to be able to have my own PC or laptop or anything, but like I said, don't really have the funds for anything. That's why I'm still using a broken Quest 2.
Me too.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, here's hoping. Hey, Divine, are you lining up? Do you got a question for us? You got a question for me
Yeah,
or for Ken?
it's not really a question. I just wanted to say one of the things that I liked from Unity as well. I learned this a while back, like a year ago or a year or two ago. The simplest little thing, it could help you so much. Just the pressing V to snap your items together. It helps with Z fighting. Yes, exactly. Yes. It's so helpful. Just pressing V. Yeah.
You shifting S to save it. Save it a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Nice. That's great.
So
Thanks for
is
that,
there
Divine.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Is there like a I know it's a couple of documentations on the Banter website showing you like how that for the mirror or something like that. But is it like a longer list besides asking somebody on Discord like that shows like the code like for the camera system you got here and little stuff things to add into the A-frame? Like is there like documentation somewhere?
Yeah. There's, I mean, apart from, like you say, the doc section on the website, there's a bunch of places
I
in
saw.
the Discord. Under the space making section, you've got share something useful. That's a really handy section there where you can.
Okay.
Oh boy. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, so you can. Yeah, you can find loads of cool things in there. Loads of cool utilities. Sorry. Tools, scripts, all sorts of things, shaders. Like you said, there's kit bundles with explanations, everything on how to use them, video players, selfie cams, all that kind of stuff is all in there in the Discord. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Discord is a great place to be if you want to be able to get involved in that kind of stuff.
And I noticed you just now started really promoting the Facebook page. The new Banter Facebook page. So
that's right.
Are you gonna start posting stuff on there, like as far as like files and things like that?
That's a great question. I'm gonna defer that one to you, Faye, if that's okay, to tell us a little bit about. Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you.
We're going to really start amping up our socials. So we've got our Facebook, and we're going to have things on TikTok and all sorts of things coming. But for files and things like that, if you're looking for specific files and documents, you'll always find that on bantervr.com, on our website itself directly.
Okay.
But you'll see us chatting with you on the socials, and we'll get to share, and you'll be able to share your experiences inside of Banter too. If you have videos you want to share in pictures, and you can advertise your events there too. Be lots of cool things.
Oh wow, okay. That'd be cool. Okay, thank you.
Of course.
I'm also working on documentation for our V2 SDK as we speak. So when that comes out, hopefully there'll be reams of documentation with that as well.
Yeah. Lots of documentation
So-
coming out. Yep.
Yeah. Let's take
Bring
a
it on.
little opportunity to recognize our member of the month up on the tent up there, Hubber, who is the helpful banter regular. God, I don't know what the hell's wrong with me, but yeah,
Congratulations.
kudos to
Thanks.
Hubber. He's running a Tetris competition at the minute, where you can play Tetris, and there's an ongoing competition. Hubber, do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's starting in about 48 hours. So it's just practice mode this week, and Sunday midnight Central European time I will reset the scores and the competition really begins. So 1 week, first one gets a quest game. The one I got for the loading space competition, I won that. So that game I'm giving back to the community. Second place gets my quest game I won for being member of the month. Unless
Aw,
my
he's so
scoring system is hacked again, then that hacker can get the game if he explains to me how he hacked it, so I can make it safer for the next competition.
It's epic.
There you go.
I like how you do that.
That's great. Hubber's great. Never ever takes his prizes. Always passes them on.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Hubber, for all your valiant efforts. Lee, I'm going to assume that you're close to where the beach is and that you've got a question. Can I lift you up there?
Yeah. How exactly will the kind of the jigglies, without without dynamic bones work?
The jigglies.
Jiggle,
That's a
jiggle.
great question. Honestly, unfortunately, it's one that I can't really answer yet because we haven't even really begun to investigate what's possible there. There's a couple of options. There's actually, right. I wasn't going to mention this, but there's somebody exciting potentially joining the team, and they may be able to help us out quite a lot when it comes to generally everything to do with the avatar, right? Including things like the bones and the physics and the IK and all of these different things. And yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. My amateur approach to it would say, let's jump in and throw a couple of rigid bodies on there, a couple of hinge joints. Let's see what it does. But honestly, the truth is, I don't even know. Maybe I could put Aline on the spot and see, does she know? And it's a totally reasonable response to say nope.
I mean, there are several parts to it, and using just physics constraints is a little bit overkill for this kind of
Probably.
functionality.
Yes.
So we are going more with 2-bone IK, which we, absolutely, we have to build a system for this and make it
Interesting.
perform. And then also we have to think about unfortunately, some restrictions, because too many wiggly bones is
Too
just
many
not
cooks.
good. Yeah, I think that's the most difficult thing, to just figure out how much you can add and when you cross the line where people could just make the experience for everyone else worse. Yep. That's
Yeah,
from
you don't want everything jiggling.
I mean,
or do you?
actually, we are for everything wiggling, we are working on something different. So we want to actually use shape keys more freely. So currently shape keys are only used for the speaking animation when you talk and for the eye blink. But we want to let people create their own shape keys and then make them like some emotes actually. So either you can trigger them with gestures, with buttons,
Oh, okay.
or just an idle animation. So it's just one shape key that just plays in a ping pong animation, and then you can have as many jiggle as you want. It won't
Oh, so like
just be physical, but it will jiggle.
yeah, like my chest could like each peck just jump out, you know,
Yes.
and throw up, you know.
And
Yes.
Yeah.
This is quite interesting, right? Because you combine this together with we combine this together with sensors, right? We're looking at a protocol
Right.
called OSC, and being able to drive that. So you could attach some sensor onto your actual PEC in real life, and then have your virtual PEC move when your actual PEC does, or whatever else you want to hook it up to, and pretend like that's what it's doing.
What a talent! That would be an
Yeah.
event.
I don't know about that.
Hey, come on, Pony. You're better than that. Don't be thinking things. Come on.
I would be
Yeah.
afraid that would cause breast cancer or something, you know.
Oh my God, yes. That's something that we're going to need to really contend with as we flesh this out. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is honestly the start of a pretty exciting journey. It's something that's important to all of us, me included. I'm just like the rest of you. I consider my avatar and the things that it can do and how I can express myself to be a pretty important thing. And I'm honestly, I'm really excited, like I said before, especially about the new person that could be joining the team, because we might be looking at elevating the whole avatar experience beyond what we had kind of ever imagined in that regard. So stay tuned for more news on that front, because I will be probably making a fuss about that when all of the when everything is confirmed. But yeah, go ahead, Ghostroid.
So things like semi-transparent materials and like cloth and stuff, are those going to be things in the new system or coming up in the new clothing? Or I mean, avatars.
Yeah, that's a great question. Yes, in a nutshell, I think whatever happens, we're going to be looking at creating more shader possibilities with your avatars, potentially including roughness maps and transparency. Yeah, that certainly could be something that could be included as well. We also want to include some other things we think people could like some toon shaders and other stuff that you might be able to use out of the box, right? We're also talking internally about how, if it were possible, how we could do custom shaders on avatars. The biggest difficulty there is really just trying to have some kind of sanity where you can prevent people from being able to use shaders to crash other people.
Oh,
so
right,
we're trying to explore if that's possible, if it could be possible for us to do that.
No,
yeah,
we don't need people making crashers.
Exactly. But the hope here is that we can potentially install a dynamic performance system that can adjust properties of avatars that are further away, everything including reducing their shaders down to very basic shaders, reducing the quality of their meshes, the resolution of their textures, and kind of doing all of that automatically. And the hope is that that might give us a certain amount of headroom so that maybe those who are very close to you, or those who are maybe prioritized on your friends list, could have quite a bit more fidelity to the avatar. And maybe you might get an option to have a bit more control over that as well. I see Yunji has joined us again. I don't know if you were up for it, Yunji, if I'm not putting you on the spot. But if you fancied joining us on stage for a little bit of this AMA. And also, I've been talking a lot, guys. Between Yunji and Faye, you've got two of the industry veterans. Have been around much longer than I have, and yeah, I mean, oh, you can't see this. Hang on, let me fix that for you.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go. Awesome. Yay.
Oh, that's much better.
You know what? I'm gonna step off. I'm gonna leave you guys up, and maybe I can hit you with a question first of all. Let me megaphone you first, Yunji.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I would love to know. Let's say, either your earliest or your fondest memory of virtual worlds. I'll leave that broad, so it covers things like Second Life. By the way, there was people here asking about Second Life as well. So yeah, tell me your story.
So, well, did you want to go first? Maybe.
You go for it. You just got here.
So let's see. One of my fondest memories about virtual worlds is actually part of the reason why I'm so passionate about working in places like these. So if I were to go back to my very, very young, as I'm like hitting my own microphone, I want to go all the way back to my very young past. And when, AOL was still a thing, and, we still had dial-up and everything like that, and, we're just kind of getting a hang of what the virtual world could possibly be. Even before the days of Second Life, there was this platform called Active Worlds. And on Active Worlds, it was very similar to Second Life, where people could build out virtual world environments. And in this space, there was one world in particular that really piqued my attention and my interest in the 2D space. And that world was called Alternative Dungeons and Dragons. And I didn't know what D&D was back in the day. I had like zero context, but being a young kid, as I was going into these places, I was able to interface with, someone who had created NPCs for the first time ever, especially in like a social 3D context. And I was meeting other users who were also actively role-playing in those places. And, during that time, just to preface this a little bit before I get into the details of it, during that time, I was one of those kids who was just like heavily bullied all the time. And there wasn't really a place where I felt like I belonged anywhere. And the thing that was really hard for me was that, in a world where as a kid, you grow up and your parents, they may or may not take care of you, but, you're trying to understand how people are and what they should be like. And my view was entirely negative until I came to this virtual place, and I had met two individuals who welcomed me into their D&D family, if you will. And I was one of those young people who were one of the first people to test drive all of these D&D experiences for the first time. So, as I was spending time with these people, I had this stark realization that, the people who were in my immediate environment weren't necessarily all that there was. And I actually felt a sense of belonging that I had never felt in my entire life. And I didn't ever want anyone else to feel as lonely as I did. And I dedicated my life from then on to explore places like these and to build places like these. So, I mean, there's so much more I could talk about in regards to that, but like Active Worlds was like my catalyst, if you will, that sent me shooting off into another dimension. But of course, I do want to also mention things like Neopets and Gaia Online,
Yes.
if anybody's familiar with those things from back in the day. I still have my account, so there's that too. But those places are just so special and so creative, and I feel like I found part of my soul there where I didn't have the opportunity to do otherwise. So that's my long-winded story about that.
Yay!
Thank you. Yay.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yay.
Thanks, Yunji.
Yeah.
Everybody jump up and down as a round of applause.
Yay!
Woo.
Here, I'll jump with you. Yay!
So what about you, Faye?
I have two of them. They're both kind of short. First, I would start off with the beginning. So, kind of like Magic was talking about a moment ago. What is it that kind of what was my any of our affiliation with Second Life and the way that it kind of influenced us in any way? Well, like I said, I went looking for a virtual reality version of Second Life when I had my headset, and it was when we were first given the Oculus CV1 if you had been a DK1 or 2 supporter in the original lifetime of Oculus. And I had that CV1 and I put it on and I went into Altspace and I met the very first person that came up to me was Schmitty Tech. A lot of people of you know Schmitty Tech from the beginning. Yeah. And I didn't know really what Altspace was, but I was greeted with this person, and if you wouldn't mind, Yunji, I'm going to pretend like you were me. He came up to me, and, you know, he didn't have hands or anything like that. He was just like this, and he's like, you must be on the CV1. Did you just get that? Is it your first day? Can you hear me? How are the graphics? What's it like? And I was just like, whoa. But he was so welcoming and it was just so exciting. I loved being a part of that and having that experience in VR, and that's one of my fondest memories. And then my ultimate fondest memory probably would be the day that Altspace VR was shutting down the first time. I know that I said it's a fond memory, but it's because it was a beautiful memory.
No.
We were all hanging out after the closing, where we were waiting for the servers to shut down. We didn't have any information on when servers were actually going to shut down. And we were sitting by this tree, and there was a lot of us. I think Brockside was there. I know a lot of people that have been here in the past were there at that time too, in Banter. And our friend Buzzy was sitting by the tree, and he took out his ukulele and he started playing songs. He was playing Somewhere Over the Rainbow, I think is what it was. And he was playing the song, and we were all just like, wow, we never knew you did this. And so we all got together, and you got all these robots who were just all like together listening to him. And he's like, I can't play if you guys are going to be watching me. I'd be too embarrassed. And so we agreed as a group that we would turn around and we would just look away and listen to him. And I remember it was like 4 a.m. because we were still waiting for news. And I put my head back on the couch and I looked up at the sky, and there were all these leaves that were falling on me from where that tree was. And I just listened to him play. And after such a stressful day of saying goodbye to friends and knowing that this was the end and things like that, it was just like this peaceful memory of those leaves falling and us all doing this together. I'll never forget it. It was beautiful. It was a really beautiful memory. A lot of people come together in times like that, and in hard times when things are happening, and beautiful times too. But yeah, there's a lot of memories that can be made in social VR.
That's awesome. Thanks, Faye.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did a memorial event earlier in the year,
Right.
celebrating Altspace and all of the fond memories that we had there. And I think we're planning on doing some kind of a regular meetup, right, where we can get everybody back together.
Yeah, we want to do it every 3 months or so. Just everybody meet up and reminisce and share. Be very cool.
Cyrus, have you got a question for Faye or for Yunji?
I was wanting to add into the virtual world spaces.
Go for
kind
it.
of. So there used to be this game called Me's Nation. It was pretty similar to like all of these other ones. The servers unfortunately shut down, kind of like Altspace, back in 2017 or something. But they're working on a relaunch. They've been talking about it for like about a year or two now, but still no news about when it's gonna drop. But yeah, that was one of my fun games that I used to play when I was a lot younger on computer. I had all of like limited items and stuff on there, so I was like, bro, my account's worth so much money, and then just to lose it all, just like that, was like crazy.
Oh, that is.
Yeah, it's a
that's
shame, isn't it?
terrible.
You know, it's. I think we've all been through it at some point or another. You invest a lot of time and energy. You want to see things do well, but you know, sometimes it doesn't always go that way, unfortunately. Yeah. Well, Cyrus, thank you for that. I really appreciate that. What I might do. Oh, maybe one more question from Trey.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay,
Go ahead, Trey.
y'all touched on Outspace just a couple of minutes ago, and that's the one thing I instantly felt when I came into Banter, like, cause I know in Outspace how we had like a community of people, like, and it just felt so welcoming, and that's how I felt when I came into Banter. So I don't know if have y'all even like, is it possible like some of the features that were in Allspace, would it even like be possible to implement some of those features that were back in Allspace into Banter?
I mean, yeah, everything is possible.
Okay.
You know, maybe you can let us know on Discord. You know, what specific features were important to you? What features did you treasure the most? And that way we can try and figure out how to bring those back for you.
Okay. I remember you had a world in Allspace, Shane, and it was your head really big.
Wow.
How things change.
Yes.
Come full circle.
I'm sure you mentioned something that don't like your big heads.
Yeah. Oh God.
Yes.
It's all
That's
coming
how I
out now.
recognized you.
Jeez. And now the talk I do about big-headed avatars.
And little-headed
Thank you, Trey.
avatars.
I appreciate that. Okay, well, look, guys, we actually have a really exciting inaugural event about to kick off. For any of you who spent any amount of time on Altspace, you might remember Yunjiverse, and so this is going to be.
Yeah, you made a good timing,
first...
Megan.
Yeah.
Woo!
So, yeah, I mean, in usual fashion, why don't we start slamming down those portals and we can jump in and
let's do it.
Let's try and get reacquainted with the universe.
There's one for the water.
Remember, you guys, press the little heart icon in the event screen if you want to get notified of the events. You can then subscribe to them. But we will see you in there.